let us know if the camp would have achieved the objectives that you would have had for it, you know.
Yeah, look, well, I think, obviously with the camp this time around, as you know, we started sometime now getting into camp before we go on tours, major tours. This camp was a little bit different because there were so many people missing. The IPL is still going on, so there would have been about 8 people in the IPL. Chris Gill, Pollard, Bravo, Ravi Ram Paul, Jason Holder, Sunil Narain would all have been away, so are not able to make it to camp. That said, the 6-7 guys that were here, the good thing from my point of view with them was that we were able to give them a lot more individual, if you like, work. So they still had a really good workout this week. Things that were tailor-made to suit them. Getting in the indoor school at the UWI and working on swinging balls and stuff on the bowling machine. So the camp was still, to my mind, a success for the 7 guys that were here. Obviously when we get to England, we're traveling this evening. When we get to England tomorrow, the IPL final is tomorrow also, and then shortly after that we expect those guys. We expect to have a full contingent, the full squad together by the 28th of this month. And then we've got a week's build up in Cardiff before our first practice game against Australia. And then we have another 2 days before we play Sri Lanka in another practice match, and then our first match in the tournament proper is on the 7th. So that's the main event, if you like, and everything else that we do between us leaving here today and getting to the main event is geared towards making sure that everybody, the guys that are joining the team, is settled as quickly as possible. We get used to the weather in England. Of course, we've heard that it's been a little bit iffy. It's been cold. There's been some cold spells and snow during the cricket season and stuff, which we will not be used to, but something that we have to get used to very quickly if we're going to go and have a major stay in the tournament. So from our point of view, the camp went really well for the 4 or 5 days that we were here, but the next thing, like I said, is getting over to England and getting ourselves settled as quickly as possible.
Your thoughts about your group? Some people do depth with teams in Pakistan and India. Your thoughts about competing against those teams?
Look, it's difficult. It's not. You can't say it's a group of death, because when you look at the next group, any group with England in English conditions at this time of the year is going to be a difficult group also. I think when you look at the fact that the tournament, last time in 2004, the tournament was a September camp, it was a September tournament. So it's the back end of the season. The pitches would have been a little bit worn. The weather was a little bit warmer than it will be in May, June. So when you look at that and you look at England would be the best team to play in England in these conditions this time of the year. So you have to say that they would be, to my mind, they're the favourites. And for the rest of the other 7 teams, it is who gets settled quickly enough and who gets used to the conditions quickly enough. That can then have a major say as well, and that's what our aim is, to get there and get ourselves quickly and acclimatise as quickly as possible. We know that we have a lot of guys that have played in England before in those conditions and stuff like that, but it is all about gelling as soon as we can, and making sure that when the main event comes on the 7th, that we're ready for that.
Do you think the West Indies will be under some sort of pressure, having won the World T20, now you go into the next global tournament, a lot of expectations? Do you think that you guys will be capable of handling that scenario?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think, certainly not under any pressure. I think winning major events give you confidence. You will acknowledge that there will be some pressure, of course, but by the fact that we've won the last major event means that we get confidence from it also. There's a lot of belief amongst the players. So we get there, we get ourselves together, and we look forward to the challenge. We look forward to the challenge of getting out of the group. It's a tough group, but the next group is also a tough group. Getting out of the group is the first challenge, and get into the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then our aim then would be to be playing on the 23rd. If we're playing on the 23rd in the finals, then I think we've got a pretty good record in finals. Having won the last one we played in also.
Well, you know England very well, and that the areas that you'll be playing in terms of support, get a lot of West Indian support in those areas?
Certainly around London and Birmingham we will. In Cardiff, I think people from London will travel to Cardiff. It's only probably an hour and a half on a train, so it's not that far. So I think people will travel also to Cardiff to come and watch us. I think when you look at the brand of cricket that we've been playing recently, the recent success of the T20 World Cup and stuff like that, I think we've seen more and more people coming out to support the team, and we know that we will get a lot of support in England anyway. So if we can hit the ground running and start with a couple of wins, then I'm sure that the massive support that we get in England will follow us around the tournament.
Well, just apart from the preparation, gelling and getting acclimatized quickly, what are the real factors you think that would be in terms of your team success? You have several players now who are maturing and peaking, like the Chris Gales and the Samis and the Bravos. They are now more or less starting to show what they can do. You think that would be crucial to your success?
No, absolutely. Yeah. And when you look at it, playing in England at this time of the year, those guys will understand, the batsmen, the top 6 batsmen especially, will understand the importance of putting runs on the board. The conditions are such that if a team bowls well early on, you could be 2 or 3 wickets down quickly. So we have to be aware of that. We have to make sure that doesn't happen to us. So that our top 4, top 5, 6 batters have to take responsibility for the bulk of the runs that we get. Batting in those conditions are going to be tough. It's going to require. We've got a lot of guys playing in the IPL and starring in the IPL, so it's a change of focus. Obviously, the IPL is 20-over cricket. This format is a 50-over format. There's a lot more time than people think, and batsmen have to sort of gear themselves towards batting 40 or 50 overs. If we're gonna really go deep into the tournament, then our batsmen really have to put runs on the board. We know that we have a very good bowling unit, a unit that is capable of doing well in all conditions. But that unit will still need some runs to defend. So it's important that our batters take on the responsibility of putting runs on the board for us. And we believe once we get those runs on the board, then we have a unit that can go and defend them.
Coach, you're going to have Courtney Brown as one of the selectors on tour, having been part of that very famous victory in 2004. What sort of input would you expect from him as you go forward with this tournament?
I think when you look back at that, and it's a good question, because when you look back at the 2004 win, the importance of staying calm, when you watch how Brown and Bradshaw approached that the end of their innings, they didn't see any sort of blind panic. You saw them taking their time. They were very strategic. It probably helped them that they knew each other because they played for line together here in Barbados and so on. So when we get under pressure, hopefully these are the sort of conversations that Brown will be having with the players, about staying calm in pressure situations. It then allows you to make good decisions and make clear decisions. So apart from Brown being on that tour, Chris was there as well. Chris Gale was there. Sarwan was there. Darren Sammy was there, and Bravo was there also. So there's some guys that were there on that great occasion. So hopefully we can go and repeat that great occasion and bring the trophy back as well.
Do you think having Bravo as a new captain for a tournament of such magnitude, do you think that could work against the West Indies or work in your favor in terms of a new captain coming in?
Depends on whether your cup is half full or half empty. My cup is always full. So Brav coming in now is a new leader. Of course, every time there's a new leader, everybody wants to impress the new leader. Everybody improves their performance, their output. So hopefully that will happen. Hopefully the guys will get behind Bravo. I know that he's a very popular member of the side. A lot of the guys look up to him, the young guys and some of the seniors look up to him. And everybody, including the management, the staff, myself, the players, everybody will get behind him and give him our full support. Our job is to make his job easy. My job as coach is to make his job as captain as easy as possible, and give him the support he needs. And if everybody, the thing about it is that we all have to be pulling in the same direction. And once we come together as a strong unit, as we saw in Sri Lanka, then we know what we're capable of doing. So Brav, like I said, is a very popular member of the side, and he's somebody that has always been a leader within the group anyway. So the fact that he's captain now means that he gets to put his own mark on the team and lead in his own style.
What about this rain factor? The last time he was in England, he did not have the conditions.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a relatively new player by international standards.
Yeah.
What would you be telling him, and how you think he might cope this time around?
Look, the last time when you look at him coming in, it was a sort of short, sharp scenario. He'd just come into international cricket. He did very well here. He was the sort of the man of the moment, if you like, and he got brought into England. When you say that he didn't do so well, you got to put things in perspective. It was very cold at the time that he was there. Yes, he didn't handle it. He didn't handle it the way that he didn't bowl like he bowled in Dominica or wherever and get lots of wickets, but he still did a good job for us. He's a year more mature as a cricketer. He will understand the responsibility he has now as the only spinner apart from Marlon in the group. And he can only do what the conditions allow him to do. So when we play here in the Caribbean and the ball spins and bounces, then he's dangerous. When the ball in England, it's a little bit damp. The ball is, it's cold on the fingers. He doesn't get his fingers wrapped around it the same way then. But he has to now learn to adapt his game plan to suit the conditions. The conditions we go into, wherever you go in the world, there's a certain type of condition, and you have to adapt to be able to adapt. That's what the great players do, are able to adapt their game plan to suit those conditions and still be effective for the team. And that's something that certainly I'll be sitting down to and speaking with him about.
As we're talking about the team, it may be early days yet, but in terms of strategy and planning and so on, do you plan on maintaining like a core level to play against the different teams, or would you chop or change depending on the team you're playing against? The reason I ask is because I can see Pakistan, for example, opening the bowling with Mohamed Hafiz, that must make opening the battle against India. So.
Yeah. We'll try and put the best team out to win every game we play. Whether that then becomes the same 11 every time, then so be it. But our aim is to win the tournament. We went through the T20 World Cup and we won. I don't think Lendl Simmons got a game, but he was a part of a squad, a successful West Indies squad that won the World Cup. So we take 15 guys. We only have about 5 games, and we want to win every game, because if you win every game, you win the tournament. It might mean that somebody misses out. Now, it doesn't mean that person is a bad player, but the management, the selector on tour, Courtney Brown, myself, and Dwayne, the captain, then looks at. It might be that we think when we're playing against subcontinental teams that play spin very well, we might want to play an extra fast bowler, or whatever the case may be. We don't know that yet. We get to England, like I said, tomorrow. We see what the weather is like, what the conditions are like in the places that we're going to be playing, and then we decide from there how to approach each game.
Maybe if you have a team capable of winning this tournament.
Absolutely. It's largely the same players that won the T20 World Cup. Like I said before, it's a different format, and we know that. But these guys are gaining experience all the time. They're playing all over the world, and every year they become a year wiser to this sort of format, to this cricket, and hopefully that experience is shown on the field. What we see now, certainly within the group, is guys are a lot more open when we have discussions about the cricket. Guys get a lot more involved in the discussions about the cricket than perhaps they used to, because at the end of the day it is their cricket, and when we plan it, we plan. They're the ones that are largely involved in the planning, because they're the ones that have to go out and execute. So I encourage them always to have that in the forefront of their minds all the time. They have to go and play the cricket. So, and the team is a team that is very confident. We're very confident. The World Cup win, after years and years of trying it without success, the World Cup win has given everybody a boost. It has shown us also that the work that we're doing, whether it's in camp or when we get on tour and stuff like that, that work is working, or it is the right thing. We're going down the right road, and that little success that we had in Sri Lanka is giving everybody a lift, and giving us the belief that we can continue, we can go on and continue to build on what we've done so far and improve. Certainly win this tournament. So we're leaving here tonight to go and win the tournament. That's our aim, to try and win it.
Just one final question. This is, I guess you'd want to say a word about Dwayne Smith in the IPL. He's been doing good. I guess you'll be happy to see that he is back to getting some runs, because he's still a member of the West Indies T20 squad. Well,
look, I suppose so, and I don't want, but I don't watch. I haven't been watching the IPL, so we've been working in the sports hall and stuff. So I haven't seen. I've obviously heard that he's been doing well, and when I go on the internet, I look for the first thing I do is look for all the West Indian names, not just one, not just Dwayne. I look for all the West Indian names. So when Chris made his 175, I didn't see the innings, but then I saw the replay. I saw Pollard got some runs. I saw Sammy had a good IPL also. Cooper, who's not been in any West Indies team, I follow all the West Indians to see what they're doing, because once these guys are doing well around the world, it means that our cricket is improving all the time, and our T20 squad to choose from becomes a wider pool of players with a lot of headaches for the selectors to come up with the right combinations and the right and the right mix and the right sort of 15 people, if you like. So, and that Dwayne has done well is great, but I think also the fact that all the other guys, that Chris has been outstanding again. Dwayne Bravo has got, I think, probably up there with the most wickets. Stuff like that. Sunil Narang's been the most economical guy again. I'm a little bit amazed that that Badri hasn't had more of a go. He's probably the most economical bowler in that format. So I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't had more of an opportunity. But those guys have done very well and done us all proud. So I'm proud of all of them.